Alright, so FGO's 8th anniversary is right around the corner, and you're probably sitting there wondering, ZTO, when is this going to happen? I have prepared my Saint Quartz, or you are in the process of finishing main quest, free quest, advanced quest, whatever have you, in preparation for the anniversary. Whether that's for the main character, you know, Ace the Savior, maybe it's for the second summoning campaign, maybe you want to spend money on the, you know, GSSR and the Destiny Order summon, or you just know that summer's a week after anniversary and you're excited for that. Well, do not worry. As the guy that makes sure that you are informed on what is going on both versions of the game, I'm going to let you know exactly when the anniversary is going down. And I'm on good intel. Not only have I done my research, but I'm also the son of Tucson himself. Yes, you heard it here, folks. So I have that insider information. So as per usual, before we jump into this, like the video, subscribe, all that good stuff. But when we dive into this, we need to establish a pattern for FGO over the last couple of years, and that pattern is they have been going to Anime Expo for 2022, 2023, and 2024. They have been going to Anime Expo to do their panels to unveil the anniversary stuff. And one funny thing is I love that back in 2022, they're on this side panel over here, and then I think Anime Expo was like, maybe we should give them an actual real venue, or maybe FGO themselves are willing to spend a little bit more money because they also started getting the voice actors and guys to start flying out for this. So that was actually pretty cool. Now, Anime Expo this year is going to be on July 3rd to the 6th, but more than likely, like it has been on certain years, they're probably going to do the announcement on July 4th because not only are they at this big convention, but that's a big holiday. I'm assuming they're just trying to use all that combined hype with the anniversary to, I don't know, maybe get people back into the game, get new players into the game. I have no idea. It's a holiday, so I don't know, you know, shrug. They do it because holiday, dude, why not? You know, it happens to coincide with Anime Expo's dates over here. So that's when it's more than likely going to be dropping. You know, we're probably going to see it on July 4th. You know, it'll, you know, probably have their, you know, event live stream thing on the Aniplex channel, and then we'll probably get it, you know, the following maintenance or whatever. Not maintenance, but reset, the daily reset. Now, just to double check here, July 4th for us is actually going to be a Friday. So it's either going to be going right up after, which I don't know if they've done. I think it always goes up later that day, like at reset. So worst case scenario, you'll actually have access to it Friday night, Saturday morning, depending on when you wake up, or it'll be available like midday Friday, because usually these streams are at like 3-4 p.m., like kind of afternoonish. So you can expect it around that time. Obviously, you'll know it's going down because you'll probably not only see me, but a billion other content creators having scheduled streams for whenever the NA announcement is going to go live. So with that being said, that's the exact date. The funny thing about the 8th anniversary is I think a lot of us have had changed tunes on it, because when this originally came out, I just wanted to show this, not only me, but my guy Mist over here also. I did not know I was this person with the same like take on this one, but I did not know I was not the only person that thought that the 8th anniversary was mid. I mean, not only that, I went and checked some of these old comments, and people were like, the first one, which is like super funny. Hello, Opera? Can we work? Can I scroll? But the first comment, as you'll see, is somebody being like, calling it mid is being generous, right? Like, they're like, dude, saying it's mid, way too positive, right? And then this was the main thing, right? If you want to know where it all came from, it wasn't really anything that the anniversary did bad. It was the fact of some people are just tired of saber faces, which I understand. Not for me. I'll take all the saber faces in the world, do not care. But I do understand the saber face fatigue. And then not only that, this doubles not only as another saber, it also doubles as Summer Morgan, which for people like me is really upsetting. You might say, ZTL, why are you upset about getting Summer Morgan? It's because she's rolled into another unit. I love seeing the 3 different designs we get for summer characters. Look at somebody like UDK Bargist, who has 3 phenomenal ascensions. I would have loved that for Morgan, and we're never getting that. Like, that's never going to happen unless for some reason they decide to be like, oh, well, that's technically Summer Ace, but to give mild spoilers for the summer event, it's just Morgan. Like, this is just Morgan. These are 3 different people, so it's like, I don't know. It seems like they wanted to do the Ace the Savior, but they also wanted to do Summer Morgan, but couldn't find a way to roll it in there. Some of the initial leaks I remember around this time was that Morgan was going to be the free-to-play, which, I mean, I still only would have gotten 1 suit, but now I have the confirmation that there's never going to be another Summer Morgan. Like, we're not getting it. Unless they want to do Ruler Morgan and then a summer version of that, but that would be like doing a summer version of the Lancer Kagetora and then doing a summer version of Yasugi Kenshin. Like, that would be a little bit weird, but I wouldn't be surprised by I don't know, 20th anniversary if we have that. So that was one of the main reasons. Like, people were really upset about that. You know, Saberface fatigue, and it was the fact that if you were a fan of Morgan, which, I mean, I'm not just saying this to glaze Morgan because I like her a lot, but she's a pretty popular character. And so the fact that Morgan kind of just got swept into another character, and we're not going to get another Summer Morgan, that's probably going to be the only one we get, because realistically, are they going to drop like, oh, well, that was Summer Ace the Savior, actually, even though her name is Beach Queen Morgan, that's Summer Ace the Savior. They're not probably going to drop another one, which is a little upsetting. Which then, if you start looking at other things, while you do get a lot of really good servant buffs during this one, like, just to kind of highlight them real quick, people like Artoria become really, really good. Karna gets fixed. Okita gets really dummy good. Like, Raiko gets fixed. You could then start nitpicking a lot of the other things, right? You could be like, well, Abigail's buff wasn't very good, and Kiyohime's buff wasn't very good. Like, I know I was really tight about the William Tell buff for some reason, right? You could be like, Jaguar Man's buff's not super good, even though, like, this is good for Salter. Like, she becomes able to do Buster looping. You know, Bradamante can do Black Rail farming. She actually gets a battery, and they fix her Buster buff. They fix Karna's battery, so he's a solid option. She can do Black Rail farming now. And then, like, you can start looking at some of the last ones, though. These are a little bit of duds. You know, you can start looking at, like, the string of buffs where it's like, these ones weren't that great. And you can start nitpicking and poking holes in the 8th anniversary and start calling it mid. I believe this is when they actually introduced the Destiny Order summon as well. And that was also something that I remember people were kind of tight about, because it just seemed like another way to try to eke out money. So it seemed really greedy, right? Like, shoveling in Summer Morgan to try to make Ace the most appealing servant, because if you like saber faces, she's a saber face, and if you like Morgan, she's also Morgan. So it tries to get both people on the aisles on that one. And then they introduce basically GSSR 2 that costs more money. It's technically a worse rate than a normal GSSR that might be like a 1 in 4 shot, but you have the idea that you don't get shafted, because it's like, well, you picked all the characters' forehead, you can't be mad. But what if I'm not really super geeked up about my rider option? What if I'm like, well, I guess I'll take Iskander. I don't particularly want to get him. I'd rather have, you know, one of the mega supports in the game. So it's like the idea that, oh, you're not going to get shafted, but you can still definitely get shafted. Like, my last Destiny Order 7, I think I got Britomart, which is one of those options of like, well, you know, I like Britomart, and, you know, I like having her on my account, but I would have rather had Goyenskaya, so I could have used all my other characters. So you could still kind of theoretically get shafted. So that's also why I just wanted to, like, address that the 8th anniversary kind of has that around it, because I've not only seen that, but I've seen little comments here and there, not too many. It's not like a huge wrath, but if you ever see those and you're like, why are people saying 8th anniversary is mid? It's really not that bad. I guess it also comes down to, I don't think we got a whole lot of Saint Quartz initially. I'm coming out with a video for all the Saint Quartz we are going to be getting for this one, so do not worry, I have that all added up and everything. I'm just waiting till we get a little bit closer to anniversary, maybe like a week or so. But it was a lot of things that you had to do, whereas, you know, previous anniversaries, it feels like, oh, here's your 200 mega Saint Quartz, right, plus some missions to go do. Where this one, they were like, here's like 130, and then go do some missions. If you've been doing things like Class Order or Advanced Quest, which not everybody is doing, a lot of people are ignoring those things, it's like, oh, okay, I have to go do this thing that I'm not doing and to get the rest of the anniversary Saint Quartz. So it kind of had a lot of that stuff surrounding it. I'm sure people that were playing the game at the time that aren't just myself doing this video can chime in the comments down below and kind of give their thoughts on that one. But it was interesting to kind of go through this, where it's like, yeah, I defected to Arknights is just crazy. Now, this is gonna that aged pretty well. Yeah, it's like upsetting. Like, obviously, are the Morgan fans still gonna come out and NP5 this character? Probably, but it was a little bit rough when it came out. But in hindsight, it's not that bad. It's, I guess, touching up on things being like, okay, you do your advanced quests, you get Saint Quartz, probably should have been something that dropped when they were introduced, whenever you hit like milestones, but c'est la vie, you know, now we have it in the game, whatever. But that is the exact date. It should be happening in this range right here, but because, you know, it's Anime Expo, it's happening in the States, it coincides with July 4th, which is a huge, you know, holiday over there in the States. It's probably going to be on July 4th, as it has been on, you know, some of the past years as well. So if you're preparing your Saint Quartz, or you are just fully bricked up with all of your SQ and you're just ready to summon, that's when it's probably going to happen. It also lines up really well with the timeline over here. That's the last thing I wanted to go over. So if you look at the JP side of things, Mystic Eye Symphony, the Feat event over here, ran to July 26th. The pre-release campaign that brings in stuff like the memorial fights. I think this is the event memorial battle one, where you fight certain event bosses, which is nice, but it's not a huge challenge. Most of the event bosses are kind of pushovers. But this happens during the last week of this event, and then you move into this a couple days after this ends, which actually coincides pretty well with our Mystic Eyes of Symphony. This ends on June 30th, which is just before July 4th. You know, it's a couple days before that. So it lines up really well. It kind of lines up perfectly, which might be why, even though I feel like they could have dropped this earlier, maybe that's why they held it back a week, because they wanted it to more coincide with the actual JP release schedule. And then instead of having a little bit of a dead period, you know, right after this event, they decided to have one in front of it. So Anniversary might have a more smooth lineup, you know, like maybe it would lead more into that a bit smoothly. But I don't know, that's just my thoughts on it. I would just say you could have given us like a small rerun or something, right? Like just toss something in there. But hey, that's just me, folks. That's just me saying we should be getting more content. But I think that's all that I have to yap about. Went over, let's see, Expo, Past, Anniversary, yeah, all this stuff. So I think with all that, I can go ahead and get out of here. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Bye!